You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
What's up, what's down? Tell me something going round. Let's discuss the light of day. Spitting truth, come with me. What's up, what's down? Nothing's ever out of bounds. There has to be a better way. Always something of a better play. Hero Shack Day. Hero Shack Day. Hero Shack baby things. Hero Shack, hey. Hero Shack, yeah. Hero Shack daily things.
Hello. Welcome to Hero Shack Daily Things. I think it's episode 18. Tonight we're going to talk about God because it's a God chat. This was recommended by Diana. She'll be here shortly, but we have been very busy since like 5:30, 6 o'clock tonight. We actually had an opportunity to go on Devil Flyer radio channel, which is why we are late. We did a promo for the Great Cyclopean number 7, which we're very grateful to have that opportunity. And of course, Devil Flyer is a fellow Christian, so we got to sit there and talk a little God over there as well. I know that we're usually here at 8, so I apologize if that throws anybody off. We won't be here very late tonight, probably till about 10. But if you've got a question, comments, thoughts that you'd like to discuss about God, the link is in the chat. I'm no authority, but I am a believer, and sometimes that's enough. So to get on with the typical daily stuff, I would like to report that the Great Cyclopean is doing well. Let me pull the page up and we'll take a peek at the campaign. For those of you following us daily, you know that we have met our funding, which is fantastic. We have stretch goals to try to obtain next. And we are slowly working our way up that ladder. And here we go. Okay, so the Great Cyclopean number 7, written, drawn, colored, lettered by me. That's not a bragging thing. We can talk about that at any time. But we are up to 20 backers now. A total of $1,890. That's been raised over the last month. We have 8 days to go. And as you can see, we're at 189% funding. That's beautiful. On the right, you can see the tiers. We have a $5 Peter's PDF project. So what is that? Well, we're putting up all our issues online for free. And the idea is to get people reading, specifically kids. We also have the $15 price for the issue, includes shipping in most cases for continental US. The stretch goals are on the left there. We have a $1,500 stretch goal for the sketch cards, which I'm actively working on. Those are 2.5 by 3.5 industry standard size, which I think is too small, but okay. And they're hand drawn by me, which is awesome. Done in, pencil, and it's going to look great. 2,500, we have the Great Cyclopean embroidered patch. Now I'll add actually a proof photograph of the patch. It's really cool. I haven't done it yet, but I have it. So I will add that tonight after the show. At $3,500, we're going to be offering or handing out the free exclusive stretch goal 9th metal card, which I will reveal probably tonight at some point too as well after the show. The $5,000 mark is the Titans of Justice Ashcan comic. That's a black and white, which is actually expanded and grown beyond the Ashcan. Now, those are pages from the Great Cyclopean book, but here's the Titans Ashcan edition, and it's black and white, full-size comic book. I believe it's going to end up about 24 pages. I'm actually still drawing it. It might go a little longer because that tends to be my thing. And on the right, again, you can see the packages. There's the Great Cyclopean Library for $100. That's issues 1 through 7, plus the alternate cover. Total of 8 books. There's the Great Cyclopean number 7 t-shirt featuring the cover, the standard cover. And, we're flexible. We make these shirts ourselves. So if you want something a little different from the book, let us know. We can put a different image on that for you. And there are 9 cards shown here, but I will reveal the actual artwork. It's pretty much 100% all of the cards you see there, but there has been one substitution, and I'll reveal that tonight with the new artwork after the show. Here's both covers offered together for $25. That saves you $5 retail. And yeah, there it is offered, the variant cover and the actual cover. So let me go back to the show because I've been on another tab showing that off. And we have Diana in the back room. Let's welcome her aboard. Hello, Scarland. How are you, Miss Muted?
Hi. I was setting I was setting up the YouTube channel.
What's up, my brother, Captain
Hey,
Aura?
Tony. Yeah, I'm welcome. Hello. We just came from another stream. I had to go get some tea and put a sweatshirt on because I'm cold.
Yeah, we were planning on streaming tonight at 8, but the stream we did started at 7 and we went well over.
Yeah, we did.
Which
but
is
it was
good.
a fun
That gives us
stream.
an opportunity to promote and sell the book. And it was a lot of fun, particularly because we found ourselves telling him about our God chat. And of course, he's Christian as well. So we got a little testimony there. And it was like, all right, this is kind of like a blend, like when a movie scene fades from one to the other, it kind of fit.
It kind of
it
fit.
went from comics to a Christian testimony over to God chat. So
Yeah.
the night is
That's
smooth.
true.
Yeah.
It is smooth. Smooth. I like that. So what's happening? Here's our daily things. Daily things is we've been pretty busy today.
Yeah, I covered the campaign. We're up to $1,890 US, which is
Yay.
an increase. Yes, one backer picked up a $15 book today, and we are so grateful for that. Everything counts. We're coming into the last week. Today is day 8. And I've got to go psycho. I don't know. We gotta go crazy and promote it. I'm thinking about going to the top of a skyscraper, like in New York, just climbing the top of the building.
That's not
Get a
realistic.
flag hanging off my back.
For a week in a what?
No, it'll only take me like 8 hours to get to the top of a building.
That's true.
I'll just need a wire harness and a little safety rig, and away we go.
You're crazy.
Yes, I've been told.
Yes, you are. In a good way, though.
I bet you God wouldn't let me do it, though. I'd get stopped.
Yeah, you probably would. I'm sure you would. Oh my gosh. Of course you would.
Maybe I can hire somebody who does it for
funny. Oh yeah,
with a Cyclopean flag. Oh, that's
I'm
so beautiful.
really, really sorry.
God bless us with the yawn. Tonight we're going to sleepeth so welleth.
I hopeth.
Yeah.
So here we are. I'm just trying to get my bearings because we just left that other stream and we were talking, different stuff there. But did we say this is going to be a God chat? Is that what you said? Why can't I hear you? Are you not talking?
You said it last night, not me.
Oh,
you declared tonight would be a God chat. I was going to do a Bible study, but you declared God chat. So
well, I
we're
mean,
going to sit here and just talk about the beauty of God, I guess. Which I am good with.
Listen. You can do a Bible study. Did you get one together?
No.
Hey, Sketch. Yes, we can. We can get a We need a cyclopean flag. Oh, what a great idea. That would be really cool. All right, Mr. Artist, that would be you. Draw, please.
Yeah, what do you want? What do you want?
I don't know. Come up with a cyclopean flag and we'll storm the White House.
The one on the corner here? I don't think that guy even reads comics.
The one on the corner. We do have a White House on the corner.
I know.
That's so funny. We have two, actually.
I stormed during Halloween.
anyways.
They told me no candy for old men. I said, come on. They do decorate for every holiday outside,
Yeah.
and they do a decent job.
Yes, they do. They do a very good job. Okay.
So Miss Diana is demonstrating the proper way to yawn. This is the third technique. This one is the over the mouth, hand straight out. The last one was a little bit more open. That was more of a ventilation one, so you can get the breath in. This one was to cover it up totally.
Sorry.
In a few minutes, we're going to get the rude one. That's where she's like,
and I'll have sound effects. I do those.
yeah, it's beautiful.
I have the whole sound effect thing, Actually,
but we have been very blessed, and I do hold God responsible for all the blessings.
Mm-hmm.
To a lot of people, that sounds a little bit naive, and
Wow.
it's kind of one of those things. Like if you go in and get emergency surgery, the atheists are always like, "You should be grateful for the surgeon." Well, I am, but I'm grateful for God who also provided the surgeon. It's like, yeah, sure, but there's a reason that we have doctors and science that can do these things,
Right.
But I think it's all point of view. And I guess I don't care if people give God the glory if I'm giving glory and they don't, because that's between them and him.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's my thought.
I know. I agree. I'm looking up a verse, by the way, as we talk. So,
Bible?
Yeah, a Bible. I wanted to read.
Well, I didn't know if you were like maybe looking up, Journey lyrics. Here's the verse from Journey's "Don't Stop Believing." Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight plane going anywhere. Actually, I think he took a train. What's your verse, girl?
I'm trying to get it. It won't come up. All right. Okay. So for those of you that have felt like under pressure, because people have been picking on you, Matthew 12, this is the American Standard Version. Rejoice and be rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted the prophets that were before you. I can't read either tonight, guys. I'm going to put that.
What verse was that from?
It was Matthew 5:12 here.
Oh, 5:12. I thought you meant Matthew 5 or Matthew. Never mind. I got the wrong chapter.
There.
Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So he's saying, yeah, when you get made fun of for being a Christian, to be happy because someone else got beat up before you did.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what it's saying.
What's it saying?
Rejoice and be exceeding glad. Should be exceedingly. Why is it typed like that? It should be exceedingly glad, not exceeding glad. Look at how weird that is.
I don't know. I would assume it's the translation you chose.
English Standard Version, maybe. Maybe I should change the other one.
The NIV, which was just the standard garbage the standard translation that comes up.
Yeah. Who's the American Standard Version?
So basically, rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. So you're glad because of the reward in heaven.
Right.
And the reason for that is because in the same way that prophets were persecuted before you is why you're getting persecuted now. You have to have that in common with the old prophets. And when you stand for the true way of Christ, you will get opposition. Even if you're standing in a Christian church, 9 out of 10 times you'll get true opposition to something for a myriad of reasons, And I know you experienced that firsthand, not with a church, but with everybody around you, the time that you had a man show up on your doorstep in underwear, middle of the winter, and you let him in and you clothed him and you gave him food and you got
I
help for him.
did. I did.
And everybody thought you were crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but you were doing what you felt led to do by the Lord, by what you had been taught, by
Mm-hmm.
all the readings of his word.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was persecuting you, saying, how crazy was that? You could have been hurt, that. And I think that is like an example of that.
That's
You should be
really,
rejoiced.
that is a good example. And I did rejoice, and I made a new friend, and, and I helped somebody that really needed help. And I didn't close my door in his face. So,
And you took heat for weeks over it, and you
oh
still
my
get
God.
shit about it
The
from me.
police, the ambulance people that had to come and grab him, all my friends. Oh, it was my
Yeah.
my friends
Me, your
online.
family. Yeah, we all were like, we're gonna kill you because he didn't. We're gonna kill you.
Well, I think too, because there's so much like yucky stuff going around in the world, like it's hard to remember that we need to be glad. We need to be rejoicing because God has us, and whatever we're going through, there may be reasons that we don't know or understand or even like, but
Well, you know what's effective
no,
for me is to remember that as big as it seems, it's not as big as it seems.
it's right.
No matter what we face, no matter how bad it is, it always seems worse than it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once you get through it, you're like, oh, well, it sucked, but it didn't suck as much as I thought it was gonna.
Or it
And
really
that's
did,
a gift from God.
or it really did suck, but God in His mercy made it bearable, even though it
Maybe
didn't.
that's the way to look at it, but nothing has ever sucked as much as I thought it was going to suck.
Right.
And that's because he makes the way. He already knows, what's happening, how we're going to make it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's
Uh,
true. That's very,
yeah.
very valid. So I wanted to put that up because I feel like sometimes the world can just suck the life right out of you with whether it's the demands of your life or you read online and there's people fighting and going off on the dumbest thing. It's like, okay, wah, you sound like you're in high school. Get over it. Move on. Or, real serious issues, health issues. You have loved ones that are, very sick or terminal. And so, or people that have died unexpectedly. I mean, there's so much negativity and so much stuff that we endure on a daily basis that if you're not connected to God, or in my case, Jesus, I want to clarify that it's Jesus for me, Yeshua, then, the world can suck you dry, and I just thought that was a nice verse to remind me that, my reward is in heaven. And I know there are a gazillion people out there that will have very, very well thought out intellectual arguments about how silly that is. And that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion.
I don't think anybody would say that's silly because, I mean, it's said right there,
Well, people who don't necessarily um, believe in Jesus, who would say, well, that's just the dumbest thing. Why would you rely on that? And blah, 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 and all of that stuff. And that's okay. I mean, that's totally fine. They're entitled to their thoughts and their views. I'm not going to be the one to, call them out and be mean to them, but I would expect that you would do the same with my own beliefs. So that's what I'm
Ooh.
bringing to God Chat tonight. We only have you and I here. There's not a whole lot because I know they're probably over at the other channel.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
okay. That's all right.
Well, remember this. So I'll be honest. This was why we stopped doing God chat, is because people don't really like to talk about God, which is why we maybe should be talking about God at least once in a week, because
yeah, well,
he's been pushed back so far that it's become too comfortable not to talk about God.
well,
And everybody, like to run with their personal thoughts, and that's great. But one of the thoughts that we were told is not to forsake the brotherhood, the
right.
gathering of brothers, the fellowship.
Mhm.
And some
Exactly.
people would criticize me and say, "Well, you don't go to a weekly church." To be honest,
Well,
I'm not sure if they're my brothers. That's why I don't go. I don't wanna go to a
well,
church and disrupt their fellowship. I don't wanna go to a church and be a detractor against their theology or their
mhm,
interpretation of scripture. So when I believe that a church doesn't quite align with me, that to a point where I think it'll trigger me,
mhm.
I'll just go watch Peter, Rabbi Peter online,
Oh, you
who, for
do.
those who don't know, is a messianic pasta. And if you don't know what
Sounded like
messianic
you said
uh,
pasta, like in
pasta, yeah, no, he's a pastor, but he's also a rabbi. He's messianic, and that
yeah,
means that he believes in Jesus from a Jewish perspective. Is
right,
the easiest way to put it.
right, exactly.
We, my wife and I and my family are not tied to Jewish law, but there is so much knowledge and understanding what we do of it
Mhm.
and why God would, command the Jews to do this or that, and
Right.
what the meaning behind the festivals are and how it actually foreshadows the coming of
Mhm.
Christ. Those are the seeds of knowledge which help keep us on a path that at least keeps us harmonious with the way of our master,
Mhm.
the
Well,
King of
it grounds us. It does. It grounds you, and I like I said, this world could be absolutely insane for so many different reasons. I personally need something that can ground me. I personally need something that, I can say to myself, okay, God, you've got this. I can just take a deep breath and sort of get through it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, today was a busy day, it was a great day, but it was also a physically demanding day. So I'm feeling a
I don't
little,
know. Today, I was really. It's been an odd day for me. Diana and I have been kind of going back and looking at the books, and especially the early issues.
yeah.
I'm having so much trouble looking at my artwork and and accepting it for what it is. And when I did those books, I
Yes.
knew that I was still learning. I knew that I was still growing,
Hmm.
and I released them knowing that they would be there as a forever reminder. But
Yeah.
I'm still like, oh, like I like the fact that they state something about where I was and where I am,
Hmm.
but looking back is so hard. And it's
Yeah.
like so humbling. And like, so I have to keep myself in step with where I'm going instead of where I've been. And it's kind of like a metaphor for everything with God. It's like, looking back at all the crap that I've done, it's easy to get buried in your past and go, oh, I don't deserve the success, or I don't
Right.
deserve the love, or I don't deserve the accolade, or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, actually, you're not,
Nobody
your
deserves
past is weighed against you,
number one.
but your future is where it really counts.
Right.
Like you got to move forward,
Hmm.
or else you can't stay in the past.
You do got to move forward. But I want to just say something about like the campaign because I I'm very excited about where we're at right now. I know that we're hoping to get to the next um
Stretch goal.
thank you, stretch goal.
Yes.
Um
Yes.
but I mean if we don't that's okay, right? That's okay.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the things that we have lined up for the more expensive stretch goals can be used in the next campaign.
Mhm.
The
Right.
thing is, there's always a path forward. Like
Mhm.
if we don't make the $5,000 stretch goal with the ash can,
Right.
like I said earlier, that doesn't mean the ash can is dead. It means it's dead for this campaign.
Right.
Uh, the embroidered cyclopean patches. I'm
Mhm.
promising you, I will have some of those at the conventions.
Yeah.
I will get some of those just for the sake of having them at the conventions because I know people
Right.
will buy it. I know people
Right.
want it. I know
Yeah.
patches are extremely popular.
Yeah. And that
Heck, I
will
want a
be
few of them.
I want
I want to start embroidering stuff on my clothing. I'm like, I want a hat like that.
yeah.
I want, um, and having it as a patch gives us the freedom to put it on anything.
Yeah.
And it's a patch that has the iron-on and this, of course, you can always sew it on, but it has an iron-on as well, coating with it. So it's like awesome.
Oh, right. That's the one because you can sew it or iron it on if you're in a rush, and then have a seamstress if you don't do it, which is fine,
Well, I know many people, that's all they do. It will fall off eventually, but a lot of people, they just melt that onto their jacket and it's there until it's not.
Until it's not. Exactly. It's there until it's not. I like that.
Joey, good to see you, brother.
Hey, Joey.
Yeah, you know what's funny? He's talking about pins. My vest, I have 2 pins on it. One is the Great
We did
Cyclopean
pins,
eye pin, and the other one is the Captain Aura logo.
Yep.
And we'll do more pins, but it's weird. We did one for Mangai Yushokin, and it was form fitted, and it was unique, but it was the quality was crap. So like we have to find a better manufacturer. It was a push pin style.
Oh yeah, those
just
were
wasn't very
that was
good.
not. It wasn't. They weren't great at all.
Yeah.
And so
So a lot of the lesson learned is a lot of the items available to us as novelties, we have to really be careful because the quality is not always
up to our
what
quality.
it's cracked up to be, right?
Right. It's not up to our quality, but I'm excited. The patches are going to be in, I think, next week, the end of next week, beginning of the following week. And again, we got them with the great hope that we'll make it to the 2,500. But if not, we'll have them. We have some Comic Cons coming up starting in May and June and July and September and October. I think August we have that month off.
Well, you never know what comes up by then either. Shows start popping up, people cancel.
Yeah.
And they call, the old reliable Hero Shack.
Yeah.
Who will show up and will put a table out and will sell some books to you, the public.
Exactly. So yeah, so the campaign, the actual last night of the campaign is going to be, is it on Wednesday?
It should be, but it's hard to tell because I always seem to screw up the setups on those.
I know. It does. I don't know if it gives a date. Does it give a date?
Oh, well, for that to be sold, I have to go look at it. Hang on.
I'm going to look right now.
I bet you I beat you to it.
Probably. You had it up already, but we did pick up another backer tonight. So thank you. If you're out there listening, we thank you so very much.
It ends March 12th, 2024 at 11:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, let me see. When is that? March 12th is
it's a Tuesday at 11:23 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's going to be the day before the show. So
closing
night is Monday night.
Monday the 11th is our closing stream. Okay. Or closing
right. It's the last show, and then it ends in the daytime the following day, and then we can have a stream on Tuesday night about how wonderful and how great it's been.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think what happened was I still haven't figured out how to launch it like on a schedule. So I tried to set it up,
remember
and
that. Yeah.
right, and then it bounces because of the time that I want it to end.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try to get that figured out. It's on my end. I do a lot of things in the comic book. The one thing I'm not great at is setting up campaigns. I write, draw, and color and letter, so it's
what you can't figure that out either. Come on now.
I can, but I don't do it as much of a science as I should. I should just figure it out, but I kind of wing it, and then I go, "Oh, look at that! I missed it by 12 hours."
Oops. No, we'll do something on Monday. We've been streaming every night now for the last 2 weeks, I think, something like that.
The only night we missed was the night we went to Mantown that Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And that's been in part because I need to do this to get reacquainted with streaming and getting in the habit of going to other shows.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight was a lot easier than normal. Usually I have a lot of apprehension about going into a live stream
Yep.
on someone else's show. And tonight I
Yeah.
actually had to go in without Diana to set
Yeah.
up, even though she showed up in time. Well, no, you showed up a little late, right?
Yeah. A few minutes late. Not much
Right.
though. I mean, it was only I was doing errands and stuff. So
But for my anxiety about other shows, I managed to make it
yes.
no problem. Thank God,
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and Rex is a really good, host. He makes you feel comfortable, and he's a chatterbox. He loves to talk, so it's not like you have to fill up the dead air. He'll just talk whatever. And he looked like he's got a lot of really nice people in his chat. I was pleased with that. I thought that was kind
well,
of
he's
cool.
another guy that has been streaming every day for at least a year or two.
Yeah.
And people have asked me, why are you doing it every day? Well, because that's ultimately how you build a network. And it sounds cheesy. You don't have to be here every night to support us, but come in when when you want. And
Mhm.
most nights it'll be starting at 8 o'clock. Wednesdays it's 9. Tonight it was 9 because of the situation, but
Right.
we'll be here and you'll know what to expect. We're kind of mellow. We'll talk about anything. We can get jazzed up, but we don't necessarily come in at you and did you hear the drama today? Sometimes
Yes,
I'm a
you
little
do.
upset, but
Sometimes you do.
not
Sometimes
like
you
that
just need
though.
to vent. Well, you're
Yeah, but
not
we're never like
mean.
you won't come in here and we don't have like a today we're going to take apart this person because we didn't like how
Yeah,
they
we
wrote
don't
this
we don't
tweet.
do that. We may comment on others that do that though.
That's
We may
true. There are
yeah.
times like you have to take
There are
time.
those.
There are times when you have to take a stand because things have gotten really crazy. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus on God tonight, but like sometime soon we're going to end up having to talk about the Wheelers just because I can't keep my mouth shut on Twitter, and it's going to end up being a point of contention.
Mhm.
But it's a good night to pray for the peace and comfort of God, so that maybe I
Mhm.
can find a nice way to say, something that is difficult to say nicely. There, does that make sense? A nice
Yeah,
way to say something that is difficult to
difficult
say
that's to say
nicely.
nicely. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it just gets you upset when you see all this nonsense, right?
Well,
I
and a
mean,
lot of it though stems into other things that people don't understand. Um, so comic book related, I believe we are in America. I believe in free speech and free press, and I believe nearly everything has a right to be published and whatnot. My lines of gatekeeping really close at like, I don't want to see anything sexually exploitive of children. Um, that's where I'm like, no, that stuff doesn't need to be published.
right,
Uh,
right.
Pretty much everything after that, if you stick a label on it, I'm like, whatever,
Mhm.
it may be
Mhm.
something that grosses me out, but you can do whatever you want.
Right.
But there does seem to be like this thing in comics, and I'm still waking up and trying to understand
Why?
the whole genre of like cheesecake or soft porn or whatever you want to call it in comics. I didn't understand it as a kid. I don't understand it today. I just understand that it exists and you know, it's a constitutional right to exist.
Right.
But I still don't get it. And I'm like, oh,
I know.
like for instance, if I want to see, you know, big naked boobs and people doing sexual things, they have stuff for that.
Big
You know,
naked boobs. That's what I want to see tonight is big naked boobs.
do
You're
you know
so
what I mean?
funny.
Like that's like porn, like there's pictures and
You
video
just
and
don't you don't like to see it in a comic book form. You don't like to
I
see it
don't
anyways.
understand it in the
You
comic book
don't
form because I
typically
relate comics so strongly
to
to
children.
childhood and to kids.
Yeah.
So like
That's fair. I mean, honestly, there's nothing wrong with that point of view. It's just frustrating. I know for you, especially because you have such a strong or passionate view of, comics for kids and why do we have to do that? But there is a whole market out there of adults and I guess young people, I don't know, that like that kind of stuff. So,
well, there's the problem where you just hit it because and we've had this conversation with Tim Olson
mhm.
and he said it himself, like, there's always those kids who want to get the stuff they're not supposed to have.
Of
And it's
course,
it
that's
almost
human
even becomes
nature.
like a motivator.
Right.
But like the fact that there's a line drawn counts for
Mhm.
something. It
Yeah.
means something. Uh, if anything else, it means there's a responsible attempt to at least, make it difficult for the kids to get it.
Right.
Yeah, they're gonna find it. It's just like, my old weird uncle's porno mags under the kitchen or the bathroom sink. We found
Right.
them. We knew they were there. But
Peeked
it
at 'em.
wasn't easy. It wasn't like, walking into a Walmart and having them right there on the shelf.
Right.
Not that that's what they're doing with all these
No, no,
books.
no, 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 no. But I hear what you're saying. I do. I understand it. It's like, oh, okay. And you're just saying because it's a comic book, it bothers you even more. Because in your
On an
world, in your
Asperger's
mind,
level,
yeah,
yes. On a
yes,
level of autistic, like, this makes no sense to my brain.
mm-hmm,
Yes. Because it
right.
doesn't add up. It's kind of like
Excuse
it's
me.
kind of like serving vegan steak. Why would you do that? That's
Right.
not the market for that.
That's not,
And yet
right
there
on.
is a market for it because obviously there's money to be made there. They wouldn't
Yeah.
make those books if they weren't selling.
Right.
So I know
So,
it's a lot of it is an internal problem. And the thing is, when I go to God about it,
mm-hmm,
it's not like God's going, well, soft porn comics are pretty cool, Chris. No, God doesn't look like so. Like I've already conceded more ground than I should because I believe in the Constitution.
right.
And yet, and I also believe God has a um an area for free will there where I
Mm-hmm,
have to I have to allow, just like we all have to allow others to do
mm-hmm,
what they do.
right.
Man, it's weird,
Well,
because I
you just,
really wish like the hottest talents in indie comics were focused on making kid books because
right.
then we could take the whole industry over again. Instead, we're selling to like, 50,000, middle-aged comic book collectors. Maybe 100,000 if we spread that out liberally. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So Joey says that all mediums will push boundaries. Some go a bit too far. It's true with shared medium to what we love. And it's true. It's
And
like we
actually,
keep,
I'm kind of glad they do. But like one of the artificial boundaries that comics used to have
mhm,
was the Comics Code Authority.
right.
And that artificial boundary made artists and writers
Mhm,
find creative ways to tell adult stories without being rated R.
right.
They lost the Comic Code Authority, and then everybody started going full blown shocker value. And now
Mhm,
we've gotten to a point where it's really hard to shock people. Like one of the biggest manga books out there is Chainsaw Man, right? Or is that what it's called? Chainsaw Man, I believe it is.
I don't know. I've
And
never.
it's a guy with a chainsaw head and chainsaw hands who uses it to kill demons. And I'm like,
Okay.
that's pretty far out there because the boundaries have been expanded really wide. And I think it's awesome, but it also kind of points out that like it's very difficult to write a heroic character that'll get the kids and adults when the boundaries have been stretched that far because nobody
Mhm,
cares about a Boy Scout superhero,
right.
unless the
And
writer
that
can
and
pull it
that
off.
I think that is it's not just in comics, it's everywhere. Like even the TV shows, everything that we see and use for entertainment, there's the boundaries are just
Well,
gone
the changes
so
in
crazy.
Disney over the last 20 years has changed so significantly
Hmm. Yep.
that we could look at it and say, there was a time when Disney was basically nuclear family, American values, safe for all children.
Hmm.
And now the modern Disney, there are a lot of families that won't go anywhere near it because it's
Right.
become too socially open, too wide open for them. Uh,
Hmm.
obviously, our family is divided on it, but we still have family members, including one of the hosts
Hmm.
of this show, who go to Disney on an annual basis. Who will watch their
Hmm.
movies. And there are other members of our family, one on this
Hmm.
board that won't do anything Disney. So it's like the country has divided, where there was a time when both members on this host
Right.
panel were diehard Disney.
Hmm.
I used to think The Lion King was an essential soundtrack that you had to have on your iPad.
I know. I know. And it's very crazy, because again, you are very sensitive to things like that. Um,
Well, and I'm
and
more loyal than a freaking toilet paper in a bathroom. I love what I love.
I know
You know, like
you do.
when I can be part of a fandom that I enjoy,
Hmm.
it's like being at home. It's like,
Hmm.
here we are. And I struggle because I learn too much. I wish I didn't know what everything that
Right.
Disney owned.
Right.
You know,
I wish they didn't go that route because it was a fun. We had, it was fun. Like there was some
Diana misses
really.
the good old days
I do. I
when we could go
do.
see a Disney movie together.
We did. We. And so Joey says the series slaps, but the story is more about finding their purposes in life. Also, a lot of adult themes of mental trauma for sure, and how the characters deal with it. Yeah, it's true, and that's a lot. Like, um, one of the books that I saw one of my students reading was that Five Night at Freddy's. I
Yep, you
think that's
finally
what
got
it's
the
called.
title right. Yep.
My God, I keep messing the title up, and it's about killing. It's about a killer, and it's about a character who I don't know. I just like. Do kids really need to read that? I guess they do. I don't know. I have a hard time with
Well,
that.
here's the thing that gets me. Kids have always read that. When I was a kid, I was reading stuff like that too, but it was unique and special, and like it had to be secret and it had to be hidden. The
Right.
difference now is it's coming up as something like that's being read by kids in school. It's changed to the point
Yeah.
where teachers aren't appalled when their kid says, yeah, I was playing Fortnite all night and I killed a whole bunch of kids. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's become commonplace.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Well, that's why it's commonplace, but they all know it, like, and the thing that we have to understand is generationally, teachers that are graduating today have already grown up through a lot of that.
I
So it's
know.
more commonplace to them when they see a third grader who is a master at Fortnite.
Hmm.
They're not as surprised as the teacher who's retiring next year, who's like, oh my gosh, that's shocking.
Right. Right.
We've been desensitized and we're getting more desensitized every
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah.
And I
So
mean,
then,
part of that is a lack of relationship with God in the family unit, and
yeah.
we can't really blame any. It's weird because the scripture says, the love will grow cold
Yeah.
and things will change, and they
Yeah.
they are,
Yeah.
and like we all long for the great revival, but maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe we are in that final tailspin before Jesus, returns.
Maybe. I don't know. Uh, but
That does
again,
bring up a whole nother can of worms, because some people will tell you we're right there, and others will tell you the signs aren't there yet. And I just try to live every day believing that it could be today.
yeah.
I don't know anything, so every day I pray for a great day, and if it's the last day, I pray that I get to see enough of it that I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Because I'm
Right.
sure,
And
what?
well, I was going to say, when you think along those terms and then you sort of look out into what people, children of all ages are looking at for entertainment, it really doesn't surprise me. It makes me sad sometimes that I have, you know, first and second graders talking about things that I'm like, how did you
Well,
think
it's kind of mind blowing, because
was
in the
that?
real world right now, there's like all this turmoil about Gaza, Palestine, Israel, the
Yeah.
Ukraine,
Yeah.
and we have kids that are, instead of paying attention to the real world where there is a ton of blood and murder and killing, they're studying fictional serial murders called Freddy, and he's a animatron that kills people at night at a amusement park. It's like, what?
Right.
Like, they're
Yeah.
not learning about the history in front of them, let alone the history that is being forgotten,
Right.
and they're rotting away on in the deepest, most religious, spiritual terms. They're running away into demonic entertainment.
Right.
I mean, as much as Five Nights at Freddy's might be entertaining to a mature individual, which Maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't gotten
Yeah.
into it. It certainly seems demonic for a child to be getting into that, and they would have said the same thing about the things I was reading when I was a kid,
Yeah.
but it is something to like note. It's like, well, yeah, as far as fairy tales go, we had some bad ones, but
We did. I mean, look at
Five Nights at Freddy's is not very good, like, well, who was it that did the kids, the gingerbread kid, the
Hans.
old one with the witch, Hansel and Gretel, was that it?
Yeah. Was it it's a why can't my brain is fried. Let me just look it up because I know it. It's on the tip of my tongue. And
But
I
like that was a
cannot
pretty horrific story, like so we had stories that were horrific, but maybe it's just
right,
the presentation now. It's all in video and dramatic music and
right,
adult language,
right.
what we call adult language.
Yeah, Grimm, the Grimm brothers. I knew there was something like
Was part of that series, yeah.
yeah, it's created by Jacob and Willem Grimm, also known as Brothers Grimm.
Yeah.
Um, and they wrote a lot of really dark stories. And I mean,
So they've
I get
existed
it.
in
They've always been around, but it just seems like they're pushing the envelope even more. That's
well,
all.
do you think any of that has to do with the fact that they're coming from families that have walked away from God and the barometer or the the compass is out
Yes.
of calibration?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
has to
I
be, in my
do.
opinion.
I do. Well, I mean, just the family structure alone today is so different that kids are not there. There's oftentimes there are no fathers in the home.
Right.
So little boys are growing up under you know, under the guidance of a mom. And not that that's a terrible thing, but God did design, man and woman. And
Right. There was a reason for everything. And
right.
in an ideal world,
Hmm.
like the
Yeah.
nuclear family is what they like to call it, but in the ideal world, a
Right.
mother, father, and children
Hmm.
is awesome. Like
Right.
but it's like the marriage has to be good.
Hmm.
The spouses have to be loyal and loving and committed,
Right.
and that makes for strong children.
Right.
And the strong children will actually rise up and lift the parents up as they get older.
Hmm.
And then there's grandchildren, and it's like, ironically, it's a lot like raising a field,
Hmm.
raising crops, and making sure that the soil is taken care of so that the family can grow and be fruitful and productive, and it's all tied together. And if you let bad stock in there and or disease or bugs or famine,
It's true. That's
and and
absolutely
in the families, now it's difficult because a lot of people would say, well, Christianity hasn't been the greatest steward of humanity, and they've done some horrible things and this, that, the other thing.
true.
But I'm really not talking religion. I mean, if people are in touch with God,
Right.
that's how you get in touch with how you should be living.
Hmm.
I, of course, believe the only way to God is through, Yahshua the Messiah, Jesus Christ.
Right.
But your walk with God, your mileage may vary. I don't know when or how he's going to get you to where I think you need to be, but that's in his hands. You can
Right.
still talk to him and I might disagree with everything you believe in, but that's between you and him. He's going to
Right.
get you where you need to be before you need to be there.
Right.
I can only be the parrot.
Yep. That's true. That is
Yeah.
very true. So
I
yeah,
am but a speaker of a radio.
you're a speaker, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway,
So we're coming up on 49 minutes. We haven't had any takers on the offering to come into the show.
no.
So for 11 minutes, we've got to fill this. And what'll happen is about 4 minutes before the show ends, somebody will show up and want to come in, and then it'll be rough. But how are we going to fill these last 9 minutes?
I don't know. Let's talk
Want to
about
sing a song?
no. So Peter, the great
Peter.
cyclopean.
Yes.
He's an alien, right? And I think in the other stream, somebody was mentioning something about, well, just because he's an alien, does that mean that God would not
Well,
have
the
saved him?
the idea was I brought up the fact that part of the storyline that he's still coming up to is
Mhm.
whether or not he uh, could be under the blood of Christ, whether or not Jesus could have died for an alien,
Right,
which also brings in the question: is he actually an alien?
right.
So there's a few things happening there that we're going to
Uh-huh.
be addressing,
Yeah.
and it came up in the chat at the show, and the members of the chat were like, "Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that Jesus couldn't die for him,"
Mhm.
which was
True.
some interesting stuff to hear.
Right.
But yeah, the thought is perhaps Jesus died in all of the different areas that aliens may have been at the same time,
Yeah.
offering a sacrifice for all creation.
Uh-huh. It's true. But
Well, I'll have
it's
to look into it because I don't know how true it is, because
hmm
I believe there's scripture that indicates like Jesus didn't die for demons. For instance, his
hmm
sacrifice was for mankind, perhaps. I need to study it a little more, but it was an interesting thought that
right.
definitely rose my eyebrows because I was like, huh, what if he didn't die just for mankind? But I thought that was and some of this definitely comes from outside non-biblical references. But the
Right.
idea was that the fallen angels were upset with mankind because they were
hmm
offered salvation and we were made in God's image.
Right.
So is that just balooey from the imaginations of man? It could be. Or
Mm.
it could be that it's real information that mankind actually hid because they didn't understand it. I don't know. It's one of those things like when I get up there and me and Jesus are talking, we're doing that like life review thing real quick.
Yeah.
It's one of those questions I'll have. I'll be like, yo, so tell me, is this real? Did this happen? What about the Bermuda Triangle? Was that just a publicity or was there a real issue there?
Right.
Bigfoot, is he
Right.
fake or, I want to
Yeah.
know. I know that I'm pretty sure the Loch Ness Monster was fake, but
Well,
Bigfoot still has me guessing.
well, well, Joey said that died for all creation. Our sins sounds like a large tent for aliens in there too. So,
It's quite possible, Joey. And so, like, what I'll actually have to do is first thing I'll do is I'll contact my rabbi and I'll contact other pastors and I'll look at the Hebrew and I'll look at the Greek and I'll get a full like spectrum of answers. And then I'll like perhaps let that influence what's happening with Cyclopean because
right.
I already have an answer for it, but it could be more intriguing with a little more research. There may be another angle on that, which would be
Yes, I
fun to
know
explore.
that would be fun because
It
I
would
know
be.
the angle that you're in. I know it hasn't
You know
been
what I'm
revealed
playing
yet,
with.
but yes, of course I do, because you told me about it. So yeah, so it will be interesting to see what you find if you do in fact do what you said that you were just going to do.
Well, and
Um,
that's why I tell people we're plotted out to issue 12,
uh-huh,
um, because plot is not the same as script or final script.
right.
And so like there's a little bit of leeway. It's like
Yeah,
playing a video game that is a shooter on rails. You can
right.
aim, all around where you're going, but you're still going in the general direction.
Right.
That's the idea of the game. You don't get free roam. You go where it says you're going, but you can shoot 180 degrees all around you typically.
Exactly. That's
I'm
the
gonna
beauty of
relate it to
writing.
something I can relate it to in video games. I relate it.
I know. You're
I
funny.
can relate. Yes. In fact, I want to do a night, and maybe we can ask the viewers about this. But I'm thinking about doing a video game night since we're doing these 7 night a weeks.
Yeah.
I'm really deeply into retro gaming. It's a great side hobby. It gives me a little bit of fun on the side. In those moments when life allows you 30, 40, 50 seconds to 10 minutes,
Yeah.
to play something fun. But
Yeah.
I use a retro.
How would you do it? How would you set it up? Like, would you
Well, what I
stream
would
it?
do is basically probably pre-record some footage and discuss it because, like,
Okay.
one of the first shows I'd like to do is talk about the viability of the Atari 2600 Now that is a very, very old game system, and generally it sucks to go back and play it. However, there are certain games on that system that are perfect for when you're like, you're at a restaurant and you're waiting 10 minutes for your order.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I got into it, nobody was talking about, what games actually work well on the road.
Right.
And I think I have a nice little collection of knowledge now, that I think I'd like to talk about. Maybe it wouldn't go for very long, or maybe it would grow into a great show. I don't know, but
Emulator screen share.
yeah. Well, I can capture most of it on my Mac using the the program on. There's a emu share here, emulation. It's not emo share. I'm getting the name wrong. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. But it OpenEMU, and yeah, it does almost everything up to like PlayStation 3.
Right.
And so I can record those with sound, get them nice and clean, and show them off, and
Yeah.
basically discuss. Some of it's nostalgic, like older players will remember, for instance, the crappy Pac-Man game on the 2600, the sounds of it, the look of it. That's one of those games where I'm like, I wouldn't use that as a mobile emulation game. I would actually use a quality Pac-Man, emulation game from a later generation or a later system. But for instance, Chopper Command is fantastic on the 2600 for, quick games on the road. Just as an example, there are plenty of cool ones that, if you don't know that they're good on the road, you might never download them because the 2600 sucked.
You should do that. That would be kind of a cool thing, especially where you're streaming like every single night.
Right.
It
Right.
might be helpful to kind of look at different things.
Well, different things that interest me, so the show can be reflective of what's happening with us, what we love, what we do. I imagine Diana's going to have an occasional episode about, the book she just read, or maybe she'll interview a writer or a creator. We
Yeah.
did interview Eric, and that was awesome.
Yeah, that was
And I
very
wouldn't
good.
mind seeing you do that again.
Mhm.
But I don't tell you what to do. I don't tell you what to read.
Right. No, you don't. You are, But I think that's kind of a good thing. And now that the summer is coming, I can always do a demo Diana video.
That's true. You're going to have more stuff to be doing that on. And you actually produced the last one. Remember your last video?
Yeah, I did. That was so funny.
Something else. That was
so
amazing.
sad. That was so sad.
You don't
But I
think that
had
was
fun doing
beautiful?
it. Yeah, no, I think it was very sad. Very, very sad thing.
All
But I
that.
had fun doing it. I did. I had fun doing it. So I guess that counts, right? Having fun counts, right? What? What is that? Why am I hearing me again?
I'm looking to see if I can find your last video.
Oh, I'm like,
Yeah, that was an old demo Diana video, but I don't see.
no, God,
I don't know
no.
what we called the last one you did.
I don't know. It's okay. We got about 3 minutes before this lady's going to bed.
Which lady?
Me. I'm tired. I gotta go tonight.
Are you allowed?
Huh?
Are you allowed?
Am I allowed to go to bed?
Go to bed? Yeah.
I hope so, because I'm headed that way. Rick's will be here in 10 minutes. Like we're closing the stream. And,
Yeah, brother, we're gonna be in bed by then, man.
oh my God.
But we do appreciate it. It's just it's been a long night, and we should have been on at 8, but we did do the Rex thing, which was awesome, by the
Right.
way.
Yeah, it was really good.
Rex knows his stuff too. He's into a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I just can't find your video, that means you're safe.
That's good. We don't want to
Yeah.
do that now. I want to make good content.
I thought that was fantastic content. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
You know.
I still have
So
one more shot. You better hope I don't find it.
you won't.
I might.
No. I'm going to bed then. I'm gonna leave you alone looking at my silly thing that I did.
No, it was awesome. It was your first iMovie. Why are you so mean to yourself?
Because I'm honest.
You call that honesty? That just sounds like you're being hard on yourself, babe.
No, I'm not.
The Lord is more gentle than that.
Yes, well, he can be. I can be hard on me and he can be gentle. I like that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, yeah,
Oh, I guess
we're going to head out.
yeah. Thank you guys for coming in. I hope you caught us on Rex. If not, it's the Devil Flyer channel on Twitter and YouTube. You can check out the replay.
Yeah.
If you got anything you'd like to talk about concerning God and you missed the chat, you can feel free, please, to leave a comment or
Yeah.
drop us a message on Facebook.
Absolutely.
We will do prayer requests, but it's not like an official feature of the show. But if you're struggling, you need somebody to pray for you, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, Jesus loves you, God loves you, and we're just trying to love you. I fail a lot, but we are trying.
Yeah.
So be here tomorrow night.
8 o'clock.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat time. Oh my God.
Yeah, you don't remember that? That was the the Batman outro, like same bat time, same bat channel.
I don't, because I didn't watch Batman. I'm sorry.
You were so deprived in your childhood. I am so sorry. All right, so I'm going to close it with a great Cyclopean #7 trailer.
Yes.
The link for supporting the book is in the description if you feel so led, and we appreciate it. Anything else, honey?
Nope. God bless y'all. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll be back tomorrow night about 8 p.m. Standard Eastern Time, Eastern Standard Time, something like that.
Good night.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
Well, stop, watch down, jump, going round. Let's discuss the light of day. Spitting truth, come with me. What's up, what's down? Nothing's ever out of bounds. There has to be a better way. Always something of a better play. Hero Shack Day, Hero Shack Day, Hero Shack, baby things. Hero Shack, hey, Hero Shack, yeah. Hero Shack.